as we continue our series looking at developing you to be the best entrepreneur and the best curator of wealth. And so joining us as we take a look at this with our business coach and entrepreneur, Shelly-Ann, good morning.
Good morning.
Good seeing you again. We're looking today at particularly at wealth, generational wealth through entrepreneurship. I want you to define for us what is wealth and what is entrepreneurship.
Wealth is what you define it to be. We have 5 areas that we measure wealth. It is health, it is time, it is financial, recreation, and spiritual. So it really is dependent on the person, how they define wealth. For some people, financial freedom might be wealth to them. For others, time with family and friends. For me, it is a nice harmonic synergy of all.
You use a term that I think I want to tap into now, which is mindset. A lot of times we all struggle as a set of people just to make ends meet. So every month you wait on the paycheck, you use that to roll forward to the next month, and who cares what comes there after you live till you die. And so changing the mindset about being the entrepreneur to develop that intergenerational wealth is going to take quite a bit, don't you think?
Of course, but with anything, whether it is education, building a business, building a family, becoming a parent, the first place you begin is in the mind. You have to prepare yourself for the journey ahead. You have to prepare yourself mentally for the tasks, the responsibilities, and even the energetic drain that it may require. All right. So everyone who is pursuing anything, you have to start with the mindset. You have to start with, who am I? What do I want to accomplish? What will it require of me to be successful at this? Or what do I have to do? What do I have to learn? Who do I have to become? Because every time we venture into something new, right? I say the excitements and the journey and adventures of life, right? Anytime we step into any of those things, we have to first count the cost, and the beginning place of that is in the mind. Mm-hmm. You have to prepare yourself mentally for where you're going.
Having prepared my mind mentally for where I'm going, and I'm looking at intergenerational wealth now, mm-hmm. I have some other people who are following after me who are mine. who I have to create the mindset for this as well. And that's not as easy as it sounds, does it? Is it?
No, it's not. It begins with you. From my experience, I believe if you are going to embark on a journey and it's going to affect those around you, those in your life, one of the things that you should do is get clear on what you're going to be doing, where you're going to be going, what is that going to take from you, and how it's going to affect those around you. And then have meaningful, straightforward conversations with those that it's going to impact. Get them ready for the journey. Because if you don't, we will end up in a situation where we may have resentment. People might feel emotionally neglected. Some people may feel left behind, and some people may even feel confused, and some people may get angry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to let those around you know what you are going to be doing, why you're going to be doing it, and what it will require of you, and how it will impact their relationship with you.
And having made that decision, and that determination, you want it to live on. You don't want to have to spend so much energy now and then it dies with you. You want that others following will be able to benefit and to keep its legacy. How do we begin then, as a business coach, to help us to understand how we begin that conversation, that road with our children, so that it is passed on in a very meaningful way and it doesn't just end when I die?
I'll tell you what I did and what I teach. I involved my children in my business. I involved my children on the journey. My children are influenced by what I have done over the past 25 years as a businesswoman. I don't keep them on the sideline. I don't keep them on the outside. I have conversations with them. I give them little tasks that is going to make them feel a part of this process. So they begin to learn what it requires to build this business that their mother is pursuing. Mm-hmm. They also start to become invested because now they are adding value. They are getting involved. They are now part of the process. It may not be anything major, right? But start getting them involved. For me, when I started the Performing Arts Academy, one of the things I did, I started involving my children in the artistic arena. So they sang, they danced, and then as they grew up, I put them into production. So they started to do logistic stuff, they started to do stage management, organize the team. I had 100+ team on stage, almost 200, including technical team. So my daughters were involved in that. So I gave them little sections. So when you start to involve the children from a young age, they are not seeing it as something mommy's doing or something daddy's doing. They start to see that it's something that we are doing. And then now as they get adults, my children are adults now, and they are looking on as, okay, what value can I bring to this institute? What value can I bring to this in community? And my children are today, after 25 years, still involved, even though they have their lives, still involved in speaking, they're involved in marketing, they're still adding value to the community. So they know they stayed connected even though they're pursuing their own career. They stayed connected to the business because they're invested in the business. They put life and sweat into this. So I think educating your children, giving them opportunities to function in this space, and giving them something that they can hold on to so that when you pass on, after you've done all the business pieces of creating structure, automation, sustainability, building for legacy, now you can pass it on to them. And sometimes it's not only when you pass, they take over. They take over even when you're still here.
Indeed, that happens from time to time. It sounds like from where you sit as a mother, wife, all of those, practitioners and entrepreneur, that you juggle so much. How do you do so and still be successful and still be able to pass it on to those who are yours?
Well, first, I'd say I don't stress about it. It is now part of my life. I don't see my business or being an author, writing, being a mom or wife, or I don't see them as something it's like a task. I see it as just part of my life. So I don't pursue balance. When I hear the word balance, I feel anxious because it feels like I'm running on a treadmill trying to accomplish something that I will never accomplish. So I feel anxiety because I feel I will fail. But what I have done over the years, as I said, many times whenever I speak, I say I pursue harmony. I want that harmony. I want to pull everything together and let it work like a well-oiled wheel. So what does my husband require? What does my children require? What does my business require? What does my family require? What does Shelly-Ann require? And then I start to say, okay, who needs more? Everybody won't need the same amount of time and energy. And everyone and everything is not going to need you to be 100% present all the time. So sometimes I am more present as a mom, I am more present as a daughter, I am more present as a wife, and sometimes the business takes a backseat. But then there are times like we're moving into conference. My family knows that when we are moving into events, Shelly-Ann is going to be fully engulfed with all things managing the team, planning, coordinating, and all of that. So everybody has to understand as well. But I don't beat myself up. I give myself room to be human.
To be human. That is so practical indeed. And so, a couple of lessons. Wealth, we have to watch what we define wealth to be. And to build a healthy relationship with that definition of what wealth is. It is not simply the balance on your account. Anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone can be creative. For it all to be generational, we need to have that conversation with those who are watching and following and engage them in the business from quite early. Get them excited and involved. And though they may have their own separate branches of life, because of that investment from quite early, they continue to be invested in the whole process as well. You create the space by not using the word balance, but being on that spectrum that allows you to be you in so many different ways and to fulfill all of the demands of your life as well. And to take time sometimes for oneself because it's important for the success of your entrepreneurship journey. I think we've learned a lot today and there's much more we can learn. We tend to think that women are the best people to do all of this because women tend to juggle these kinds of things, many things at the same time, all in one. And I hope that our women who are watching are seeing themselves in practical ways, being able to do what we've been talking about as well, building yourself up as an entrepreneur and also encouraging the generations that follow to benefit therefrom as well. And so, Shelly-Ann, Aki Solomon, I got to leave it there, but thanks. We'll be joining you again next week if it be the will of the Lord, so we continue the journey towards empowerment of our people and the women of Barbados as well. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Morning Barbados comes back in a moment.